Welcome guys back to the Wind Down with Toya T, where we do a recap and review of Insecure Season 4. This week we will be doing Episode 4, which is halfway through the season. This one is called Low Key Losing It. And I'm just going to start off by just drinking. I think it fits with this because it's starting to get thick between Molly and Issa, but let's get into it. So it starts off, we're a month before the block party. We see Issa, she's creating a flyer for the block party. She put it on Facebook and she's getting hyped by the immediate response that she's receiving because Schoolboy Q is her headliner and she's so excited that she was able to pull this off. And before she can get too hyped up about it, we hear a knock at her door, and who is it? It's all the tenants, and they're out there and they are angry, okay? Everybody is angry. They all pile into her apartment and complain to her about the fact that there is no water, and Issa realizes that she forgot to tell the tenants that the water was going to be shut off. Not good. I mean, she's the property manager and she has not told the tenants anything. And one of the tenants actually pointed out, like, you have to give them at least 24 hours notice. So bad on Issa. We see that she's messing up on there. And I'm kind of afraid that Issa might get kicked out of this place. I think she might get fired from this position and then be evicted and she'll be homeless and jobless. And that's not good. You can be homeless. Well, actually, you don't want to be homeless. You want to be jobless but not homeless. But you don't want to be both. Next, we see Molly working at home. She seems to be working on some big case. And she has her rulers in. She has her wine. She has her laptop. She's chilling. All of a sudden, she hears that doorbell ring. It's Andrew. She realizes that time has flown by. And I guess she was expecting him. So he comes in thinking they're about to have them a nice little, nightcap. I guess that's a good way to say it. They go into the bedroom and start, getting to the business. But Molly's mind is not there, and Andrew can tell, and she's like, yeah, I really just want to finish this thing and then I can be all yours. So she goes back to working because Andrew said it's fine, it's okay, and she finishes her work. When she looks at her phone, it is 1:42 a.m. in the morning, and I'm like, girl, Andrew's asleep. So she goes into the bedroom. He is sure enough asleep in the bed. But she decides to wake him up, and good thing she did, because it seems like Andrew stayed ready. He was already butt naked in the bed. Well, I like Andrew. I like Andrew. I like Andrew. I like Andrew. I don't think Molly deserves him. I really don't. I don't think she deserves him. I think all black women deserve love, but I don't think Molly deserves Andrew. Not at this time. So we see that Issa has been trying to contact Condola, but there has been no response because she gets a phone call from the printing company, and they're asking for the final draft of the flyers, and Issa wanted to run it by Condola first, but Condola has not been responding to her. So she texted her, she called her, no response. I told you that there was going to be some issues that was going to happen that would be related to the fact that Condola was dating Issa's ex, and the fact that Lawrence and Condola broke up. I knew it was going to have a repercussion on Issa and this block party, but I didn't think it was going to be like that. Like, damn, Condola, aren't you able to compartmentalize your life? I mean, you the one that said it's okay, and you dating this dude and working with her. You should have been able, if y'all broke up, it got nothing to do with Issa. It's not like you found out they were cheating behind your back. You were uncomfortable with their kind of relationship and things fell apart. So you should be able to just work with Issa and be like, you know what, just don't invite Lawrence to this if you could do that for me. But I think that would have been fine, but no. Not happening. So I guess Condola's not as grown as we thought she was, but I told you there's going to be some issues. Now, Molly, we see, is bonding with two of the female lawyers at her job, which is great because she's been putting on all this work to bond with them and to repair these relationships that she started to build with them when she first started working there. And they're working late, and the ladies are talking about their relationships and talking about different things. And one of them mentions that she has to go because she has kids, and she's been giving them, she's been giving them some bland takeout food, and she wanted to remedy that and go home. And the other one talks about how she used to be with somebody, but her ex was always very adamant about her being home by 6 o'clock, which doesn't work with her job as a lawyer, as a corporate lawyer. And it's funny because she said that her ex was a teacher, and she's like, I don't know why, this person be so pressed. Like, they get weekends and summers off. And I'm like, girl, don't you know how hard it is to be a teacher? I think if they had wrote this after the pandemic, it would have been a different conversation, because I think everyone that has children now knows how important teachers are and the roles that teachers play, and the fact that it's stressful as all hell. It doesn't matter that you get the summers off, okay? It really doesn't, especially when there's some teachers that don't even get paid adequately. They don't get paid adequately for the amount of work that they put in. They don't get compensated for the school supplies that they buy themselves for their classrooms. And so I just looked at her like, girl, are you serious? It don't matter. We need the summers off so we don't kill them kids, okay? As a teacher myself, we need them summers off so we don't kill them kids. That's all. That is all. We need it so we don't end up strangling somebody's kids and end up in jail. So I thought that was interesting. And Molly's like, oh, my man is real flexible and he's been real cool. And I'm like, it sounds like Molly is taking Andrew for granted, and this is not gonna end well. Again, I said I think all Black women deserve love, but I don't think that Molly deserves Andrew, because the way that she talked about him, like, oh yeah, it's cool. And they knew that she had plans with him, and she brushed it off to work late when she didn't have to, because we saw that one lawyer left because she needed to go take care of her kids and her family, and the other lawyer seemed like she was cool staying late and doing some of the work. And Molly could have just picked it up on a day that she didn't have a date with Andrew, but she decided to brush off Andrew and work instead, which again doesn't look good. Molly and Issa's problems manifest in parking wars and fully show its ugly heads. Both of them are trying to park near Tiffany and Derek's apartment. Issa got there first and was gonna back into the parking space, but then Molly pulled up and they noticed that it was each other, and Issa says, I'm moving. And I knew that she meant that she was moving into the spot, but for some reason Molly just did not understand that. And Molly is pulling into the spot, and they just continue at this, like getting real close to getting into a fender bender. And eventually Issa decides just to give up the spot to Molly, which makes no sense because it is her spot. Like, she was backing into that spot before Molly was pulling in, and she decides to go and park someplace else that's much farther apparently. And Molly actually waited for her to walk up and from her far away parking space, and it's awkward. And we learned from their conversation that they haven't had their self-care Sundays in a while, so they might not have chilled in about a month, because obviously they never had that conversation about what's going on in their relationship. And so I think since Thanksgiving, they have not met up. And they're really snippy with each other. It's not even just like, oh, we have issues and they're trying to be polite and dance around it. They're snapping at each other. Like, it is on some real frenemy type chemistry going on, some real frenemy type shit. So everybody's up in Tiffany and Derek's house, and they're looking at the baby Simone, and she real light skinned and cute. I don't mean that she's cute because she's light skinned, but because, light skin love, that's what they call themselves, Tiffany and Derek. They got a little cute baby. And Derek and Lawrence are looking at the baby in her crib, and Derek is starting to have some girl dad kind of epiphany on the fact that before he was with his wife, that he was real dirty to a whole bunch of women, and that those women were somebody else's daughter, and that somebody, some little boy or girl or whatever, is going to mess with his daughter the way he messed with somebody else's daughter. And I love the way, I love that they came up in conversation, because that is real. Like, I really do wonder. I know some guys that I know, and some guys that I dealt with, people that I was involved with, that now have daughters, and I'm like, this is what you deserve. You deserve this. And I cannot wait till puberty hits. I cannot wait. I'm just gonna put a timer, figure out when that child, thank God for Instagram and all these stuff, found out when that child turns 13. I'm trying to think about when I got real fresh with my family. So 12, 13, 14 particular, and hit him up like, so has karma hit you yet? So they have a real conversation, and Derek also points out to Lawrence that the baby wasn't planned. They were planning to have a baby 2 years from now. They wanted to buy a house. They wanted to travel. But now, things have changed. And you see for Lawrence that he's starting to kind of, I don't know what he's getting from it, but we all know that he's in this new mode. He's very much dating with intention, which I saw someone else talk about. I think it was Dr. Joy. Was it Dr. Joy from Therapy for Black Girls podcast? Somebody was talking about that he's dating with intention, and what does that mean? And he seems to be like picking up like real adult, grown man like ideas and starting to think about them, which is interesting because we go over to where the girls are and they're all sitting on the couch and they have been doing laundry to help out Tiffany, and Tiffany's sitting there drinking some wine. So obviously Mama is not, that went out the wrong way. Obviously Mama is not breastfeeding, or she's pumping and dumping while they're doing the laundry for her and folding the clothes, and they're all talking. Kelly is a whole hoot, which I wish we saw more of Kelly because she's so freaking funny. But we really see the tension between Issa and Molly. They're like snapping at each other there. And we see both girls kind of separate, with Tiffany talking with Molly and Kelly talking with Issa. And Kelly points, like, sees Lawrence. He comes out of the baby's room, and Kelly points out that Lawrence is looking like a provider, which is, in reference to the fact that Issa had said in the previous episode how Lawrence looks like somebody who's actually going to pay for the check, like paid for lunch, and she didn't date that Lawrence that would take you out and pay, like she always had to pay. And Issa's asking Kelly if Molly has said anything to her because, it's tense between them. They still haven't had that talk about what's going on between them. And Kelly's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, is there something going on? But Issa doesn't go into depth. And the same thing for when Molly talks to Tiffany. They're in the baby's room, and Molly is looking out the window because Lawrence had to leave, and he asked Issa if he can come talk to her. So she went outside to talk with him, and they're talking outside, but she can't hear their conversation, and she's looking at like, And Tiffany's like, what's up? And Molly's like, me and Issa are not really like vibing, and I really don't like the fact that she tried to tell me that I don't seem like I want to be happy, but yet she over there repeating old patterns, like talking about her going back with Lawrence and all that. And Tiffany also is not picking up on like the extreme tensions between Molly and Issa, and she's like, okay, girl, like there is more important things out there than thinking about stuff like that. You just have to like live your life. So then when we move over to Issa talking to Lawrence outside, and I think he's trying to tell her that he broke up with Condola. Like he's like, I want to talk to you about something. But she's like really excited, and then she gets a phone call, and she finds out that Schoolboy Q has pulled out, and which is weird because we later like have a conversation about the fact that if he signed a contract and you've been paying him and paying him on time, he has no reason to break that contract. So you have actually has a legal way to deal with this. Like, one, he needs to give her money back, and two, needs to tell her why he broke it and then return the money. If it was because of sickness or something, then obviously he can keep the money or whatever, like insurance deals with that. But I don't know if he even has insurance for this. But she finds out, she's really pissed, and Lawrence doesn't get a chance to continue the conversation. So now Issa is in a real hole here because Schoolboy Q is the headliner. We saw from the first scene that people were responding to the fact that Schoolboy Q is the headliner. And so now she's looking for new acts. She's looking at local acts. She's like going through Facebook. She's going through her phone book. She's calling on her friends and seeing if they have connections with people. She's looking for local acts on Instagram and contacting them. She almost contacted Beyonce, but then realized that she was tripping. We see that she's really trying to figure things out and still cannot get in contact with Condola, which again, I think she's the one that caused this problem. Ugh. Gosh. So now we see Molly and Andrew on a date, and miscommunication rears its ugly head again. I said, I don't think Molly deserves Andrew. Okay, apparently he can put it down. He has a good job. He takes her out on dates. He puts it down. He has patience, because to continuously deal with that bullshit before they started dating exclusively and then still, whoo, he has the patience of a saint. Okay. And so they're on a dinner date, and Molly is like, okay, so after this, we're going to come back to the house, and we're going to, we're going to have some dessert, and then some dessert. And Andrew's like, well, I actually have plans. I plan to have, I have a poker night with my friends. And Molly's like, what? Like, you had plans when we're together right now? Like, this is our time, and you're making plans? And he's like, well, I expected that you'd have to, he's like, I'm expecting that you would have to work, because the last time we met up, you had to work and I had to wait. And so I thought, like, let me, have dinner with you. And I pretty much expect that you got to go do some work after this. So I made plans, and he sees that Molly's getting upset, but he's like, I can change them. She's like, no. I'm like, okay, Molly. Molly. Ooh, can she go? Is she still in therapy? Honestly, I don't think she's still in therapy. She needs to go back to therapy. She really needs to go back to therapy and work out her issues. Talk about her issues with her daddy, finding out her daddy cheated on her mama, figure out her issues with Issa, figure out her issues with men, figure out her issues with being a pick-me, like all kinds of stuff. Just figure out your issues, girl. All right, so this is the next day. Molly's at work. Issa calls her, and Molly's like, at first, when she sees the number, she's like, but then when she picks up the phone and Issa's like, oh man, girl, I need to talk to you. And Molly's really thinking that Issa is trying to finally have the talk that they need to have, but that's not what's happening. Again, they're on two different pages. Two different pages. I mean, they are definitely low-key losing it. Issa actually called Molly to ask for a favor, because we find out now, like I said before, like I said the last episode, or maybe the episode before that. It was the episode before that. I was like, what the hell does Andrew do? We find out now that Andrew works at Live Nation. So Issa called Molly to try to get the hookup, see if Molly can get Andrew to get an act that works with Live Nation. So we know that Live Nation has connections with Roc Nation, so maybe get Jay-Z, Beyonce, Rihanna, or any of their smaller acts, which would now include Megan Thee Stallion, which would have been cute. And so Molly just seems kind of she just seems really perturbed about, like, the fact that this is what Issa called her for. But she said that she'll ask Andrew. Next, we see that Molly goes over to Andrew's place, and she comes with some donuts, I think, from their first date, and some champagne. She has some drink with her. I think it's champagne. And, they finally sit down and have a talk, and I thought he was about to break up with her, for real. Because he's like, it seems like you don't really have time for me. It seems like our schedules aren't meshing. Like, we're past the honeymoon stage. We're past the stage where we're just all up into each other and, just doing it all the time. And now we are finally, like, we're in the building stage of our relationship, and I don't think that you have space for me in your life. And she's like, no, you're my priority. I'm sorry about what happened in the past. And he accepts it, and they, get it in. And Molly calls Issa, and Issa's like, damn, you were a real fast girl. And Molly tells her, you know what? I don't feel comfortable asking Andrew for a favor like this, which I think if they were in a better place, she would have no problem asking Andrew this. But she already has all these things crumbling around her, and she is clinging on to Andrew and this relationship. And she had said when they were talking, when she was talking to Andrew, that she doesn't even quite know what to do, because she's never been in a relationship that lasts this long, because she usually, as she says, has run them off already. She's already run the guys off and never gets to that stage where they are actually just in a relationship and figuring out who they are as a couple. And so, Andrew really related to that when she said that, and she's saying that to Issa, like, I don't feel like I should be mixing my relationship and business, because I feel like that will cause issues in my relationship, and this is really important to me. My relationship with Andrew is really important to me, and so I'm not gonna ask him for that favor. And so Issa is disappointed. They get off the phone, which they both just seem over it. I'm surprised it didn't end with a bitch, because I thought it was going to end with, I'm not going to ask him no favor for you, bitch. That's what I thought it was going to say. And I thought she was going to say, okay, fuck you then, bitch. I thought that's where it was going to go, because they really are on some frenemy status right now. They're not acting like best friends. They're acting like frenemies. And I'm surprised that it hasn't come to that, and I think it's coming. I think it's coming either in the next episode or the episode after that. So that we finally catch up to the place where Issa's like, I don't fuck with Molly like that anymore. So Issa's real disappointed. This is the last scene. Issa's in, she's in the bathroom. She's trying to talk to her mirror self. And her mirror self is like, girl, I got my own issues. I ain't got time to talk to you. And I was like, damn, what is going on in the mirror world? Is like, what is so serious going on in the mirror world that she ain't got time to talk to her own self? That is how down in the dumps Issa is. And after her mirror itself scares her off, she decides to go take a shower and turns on the water. The water is brown, because, you know, that happens when they shut down off the water, and then the first time you turn it on, it'll be brown for a bit. So I know it's supposed to be like Issa just took another L, but I mean, anyone who's ever lived in an apartment building where they turn off the water, you know that you have to run the water for a bit until the brown water subsides. And so it wasn't like she wasn't going to be able to take a shower that same night. It's just that she couldn't take a shower right then. So that's how it ends. It just ends with the brown, dirty water. Let me know what you think about this episode. Did you like it? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Condola is the one that messed with Schoolboy Q and caused the headliner to pull out? Do you think other vendors are going to pull out that are connected to Condola, since she seems to be this like super connector? Are you feeling this season so far? Do you think that they need more episodes? Like, tell me what you think about it. And don't forget your wine, because I'm not going to. I'm going to finish this off. Maybe not. And I'll see you guys next week. Okay, guys. Bye. Now we're finished. That's a wind down.